Good morning, Virgo. How's everybody doing today? Hope that you're doing well. I can't wait to get into your October forecast. A lot of great messages came through for your sign, and some really sort of beautiful guidance as well. I was up early, as always, kind of getting this together for you. So first and foremost, I'd like to welcome everyone. If it's your first time here, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, this little creature that I'm putting down as Apollo. And the reading that we'll be doing today is for your sun, rising, and moon sign. If you're experienced with astrology and you happen to know more about your chart, you can also watch for the different parts of your chart, such as Venus, etc. So feel free to cross-watch and watch on behalf of other people if you would like to. These are very sort of, this is an open forum for you to be able to use as you need to. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming through today, how it's organized, and then I'll get into the reading. So I always put this together in four main parts. I like to start with the channeled messages. I'll give you a sneak peek. Before I get started, I usually spend at least an hour to an hour and a half getting all of these messages put onto paper. And that comes through for me mainly through dreams and meditation, but also automatic writing will help me connect to a lot of that. And definitely the first messages today came through the automatic writing. After we go through the psychic download or the channeled messages, I will then get into the Celtic Cross. I've already selected a deck of cards for that. And what we'll be doing there is just letting what needs to show up. And then I expand the forecast to look at some specific areas, including health, wealth, love, and destiny. And then I use those to kind of function as a lens at everything that we just looked at. We'll review all of these main things that come through in the first two parts. And then we'll go a little bit deeper into the soul path. The soul path is going to be unique to each sign, and this particular part of the reading will kind of take a look at past, present, and future influences for three different areas of the reading, something that seems pivotal that you can really work on, whether it's in the channeled messages or in all of the cards that I'm pulling. After we do that, then there's a moment of integration when we meditate, and I will play a singing bowl at the end to give everybody a little bit of healing energy. So that's what's in store for you. I'd like to welcome my moderators, Ryan and Maria. They are great at keeping everything organized and answering high-level questions. So treat them with love and respect if you can. And I also want to just quickly discuss how Super Chat works here. I would love for you to show support. If you like what you're seeing, you can do that through this icon, which is next to the emojis. If you're happening to watch this on replay, there's also a little heart now by the like and dislike button that's called applause. All of these things function in the same way. Namely, they help me keep all of my decks and equipment and even the index cards and everything flowing and up to date. So thank you for helping me keep this channel alive and healthy. I appreciate all of you. I don't answer questions. I don't do Q&A. I'll periodically look at chat just to make sure that everything's resonating. But basically, I kind of go into a channeled state as I start to do this, and it takes me out if I have to answer each and every question. So that's the difference between this and other readings. Okay, let's begin. As I was starting the channeled writing today, I combined a little bit of what I saw in my dreams with new things that were coming through visually for me. And what Spirit was showing me was almost as if you were in a room with a lot of different doors. And I guess maybe you could, it was like a great hall, if you will, but it was circular and there were doors in every direction. And this is a portal month. October is very much a month where new things are coming through and some old doors might be shutting. And you're going to be faced with opportunities, with choices. You're going to be asked to be discerning about these choices. As you stand before all of the doors, all of these options in front of you, take your time. Weigh things out. The next thing that came into my third eye was the weighing of the heart, a ceremony in ancient Egypt, mythology and religion, where there would be a god that would basically weigh your heart against the feather. And if you had a really light heart, lived a really good life, you successfully kind of passed that ceremony. If you didn't, it was a different outcome. But what we're focusing on is how to keep that light heart. And what I would say for you is if you're weighing a decision and it feels heavy, your heart needs to sort of, it will be your compass. If it feels heavy, don't do it. It's time to reevaluate. It's time to negotiate. It's time to really get the information that you need to have that light heart And that sense of joy and happiness and the butterflies sometimes that we feel can be good. It's sort of like, I can't wait, I'm excited, I want this to work. But if there's that kind of like a pit in your stomach, or that there's some pain in your stomach, or this feeling like, I don't know, no, don't do it. You need more information. You need to push a little bit harder. Possibly you need to do your research. So let me just review what we talked about. October is opening new roads and gateways for you. It came through as a great haul for me, doors in every direction. As you stand before this gateway, before these doors and before these choices, take your time. Truly weigh the trade-off against the opportunity. You may be faced with two really difficult sort of decisions: to stay in something that you've built that's successful, whether it's a relationship or a job or even a house, or to move on to something that promises great growth, but also carries with it risk. So you're going to have to weigh out the risk versus the safety. And sometimes we are faced with that. So do as much research and get as much insurance put together in that situation, so that when you walk through that new doorway, you know that what you're leaving behind, you're not going to miss. Using your heart again as a compass, the weighing of the heart. Basically, if you ever do a little Googling, there again, it was like, I think the goddess's name was Mot, but the feather symbolized that. So I want us to kind of have that light feather-like heart. And if you need to, go back and renegotiate, especially if there is a contract or something where it's like, I kind of want it, but I need this, this, and this before I feel really good about it. That's what you need, okay? So go back, you can do this. The next piece of sort of information that came through was, because we're really talking, it got very sort of deep in mythology today. And the esoteric, but that's what we're doing, reading cards here and doing a psychic reading, so it's appropriate. So this was what my guides came through and said next. Though we live many lifetimes, this is the one that you are living now, so make it count. If you feel a spark of passion or intuition, use and honor that to change the trajectory or the direction of your life. The many doors, which we just were talking about there, and that are open at this point, they won't always exist. So you have to create some sort of a decision. You have to take action right now. Reject the feeling of regret. Many times in the past, I've talked about this. If you could use, kind of imagine today was your last day on the planet. What are your regrets? Make the regrets your goals. Then reject that idea that you're ever going to have a regret. Instead, put into action those goals and basically don't take no for an answer. Think, I'm going to make this happen. I can see it happening. Do this and you're going to increase your confidence. You're going to start to manifest. Yes, I saw someone mention the energy of the high priestess. We're basically very alchemic in these two categories here. One is understanding that options exist. The other one is being a powerful kind of player in this and saying, I'm going to start to move the energy. I'm not just beholden to it. I'm not just the magician, which can kind of connect with all of it. I am the high priestess. I can see, I can manifest. I'm going to use that to my advantage so that I can really accomplish what I'm supposed to in this lifetime. So yeah, like the goddess Isis is definitely a part of this reading. She came through. All right, so though we live many lifetimes, this is what matters. If you feel a spark of intuition or passion, they're very similar, use it. The doors that are open now won't always be open. Choose wisely. Forget about regret. Start to use that potential regret as a goal, and don't let go of your goals. Really be strong and think, I'm going to do this. Next piece that came through, I was shown a few cards in my head. Sometimes that's how the guides communicate. Queen of Wands came through, so did the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles was more an illustration of the balance that needed to be done, less of what you would need to be. The Queen of Wands was the sort of dominant energy. So you're being asked to juggle many things at once. Choices are imperative, and you can't do everything, or you can't do it all the time. So like the juggler, if you ever look at a juggler, or not the Two of Pentacles where there's only two, that's not truly juggling. And that's why I'm actually rejecting that as the symbol. I would think of a juggler more as having 3 or 4 or more objects in the air. So if you could take the energy of the Six of Pentacles and juggle it, and only be really touching 2 at a time, and the rest are moving around, then this is where your power exists. What am I going to focus on now? What am I just kind of letting go, and how is that going, and what am I anticipating next? But 2 to 3 things is all you should be focusing on. The rest of the stuff, you're going to have to maybe give it to someone else, maybe put it on the shelf. Choices. And we'll talk about this more in a moment, but if you manage yourself, you're going to be able to sprint occasionally. You're going to be able to turn things to a higher octave or a higher energy level, but you can't do it the whole time. Because the Queen of Wands came through, she's very magical. She's definitely, even though she's a court card, she has the energy of that High Priestess. I talked about this a lot this month, actually, because she's often shown with abundance despite being in sort of like a desert. So she's coming through a lot this month to remind you, we're creative, we're resourceful, we can do this. She's tenacious, though, and sometimes she's ruthless. So you're going to have to really make sure that you go after what you want and don't give up. That tenacity will be paid back if you keep working hard at it. Perseverance is maybe a better word too. So let me just summarize what we just talked about. You're being asked to juggle a lot of things at once. You're going to have to make some choices. If you try to make everybody happy all the time, you'll fail. If you only try to make yourself happy, no one will like you. You're going to have to find compromises and a way to sort of like melt this together and give and take. That's the juggling energy that the Two of Pentacles was showing. Success is attainable, provided that you divide and conquer responsibilities, a little bit of the Six of Pentacles there. Choose what you're going to do, choose what you're going to give, let go of some of the other stuff. Embody the Queen of Wands again, manage yourself, manage others, and you'll be able to make it work. Express gratitude for all of your experiences, and even the ones that you don't like or that maybe seemed like they were difficult at the time, because they made you the person that you are today. And as you start to get more into the attitude of gratitude, if you will, then the universe opens up because it sees that you are not feeling helpless. You are empowered. You're like, yes, I realize I called that in. Yes, I'm grateful for it. No, I don't want to repeat that. Now I'm ready for this. I want it, but I don't need it. I'm ready. I'm opening. I'm creating this path. Let's do this together. We're co-creating. So gratitude is a great sort of tool in that, and it's a part of your evolution. It's so important this month for you to take care of yourself. So please, despite all that's going on, please sleep, rest, meditate. A consistent message throughout October. Take your time to get your bearings. Every effective leader knows where they're at and they know where they're going. So if you don't know where you're at, it doesn't matter if you know where you're going because you're lost. If you don't know where you're going, where are you going? You're just moving. So you have to have the two. Here's where I am. That's where I'm going. The how I'm going to get there could change from day to day. But as long as you have these 2 points, awesome. So at least those two. Okay, so focus on that, and that's going to help you. A race is only effective when you know, again, where you're headed and where to sprint, where and when to sprint. This is also the balance piece. So you can't run the whole time or you're going to run out of steam. So some days relax a little bit. Some days work a little harder. Other days have some other people help if you need it. It's this constant management, juggling, and decisive energy that's going to help you be successful. Visualize your end goal. You need to be Two of Wands as well as all of what we've been talking about in order to make something happen. Visualize that, and it's a metric. Obviously, I worked in corporate culture if I use that term, but a metric is basically just something that we use to measure against it. So in this case, say you want to, I don't know, maybe you want to sell your house. You're going to have to figure out what you need to do to get it ready for that. So home improvements would be a part of that. If you're trying to get a certain job, you would look at the prerequisites and think, well, if I take this internship, if I go to this school, if I do this type of job, it's setting me up, it's creating all the things that will help open that up. If you're trying to win the Olympics, there might be a lot of other things that you're doing. But when you know the end goal, you know who to work with, how long maybe to work with certain people. If a decision makes sense, like, should I do this? Is it really helping me with my long-term goals? If it isn't, I'm just spinning my wheel. And the Wheel of Fortune is only effective if it's actually moving. But if it's just kind of like spinning in place or going back and forth, nothing's happening. So you want forward momentum. It needs to keep moving you towards the future. Finally, just trust yourself. Trust that you're going to do this. fear and doubt are normal. You can use uncertainty or discomfort to kind of go through and create those insurances or those assurances in certain areas that you're okay, but you can't live within that fear. You have to start to go within the faith and within the decision that I'm going to make this happen. Okay. So there was a lot of alchemic information that came through for you. It was seeing that the opportunities exist, weighing the opportunity and deciding which one you wanted to take, juggling things so that you weren't missing some sort of a conduit that would help you get to that, and then really understanding where you're going so that you are as effective as you can. But it was a beautiful sort of combination of messages that came through, very cohesive, everything aligned. And I hope that as we look at the cards, we can get some additional messages that help reinforce or reveal some new things. Okay. So welcome everyone. I think someone had a birthday. Happy birthday to everyone that's here. So happy that you've joined. If this is your first time, you're in for a treat. Every reading is special. Everything's unique that comes through. So I'm happy that you chose today to come. And if you've been with me for a long time, I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, just a couple notes here before I get into pulling the cards. I like to remain quiet during this portion so that I can observe the arrangement of the cards, so that I can receive additional information, but I'll turn the camera up afterwards and do a good amount of talking about everything. So just stick with me, and I appreciate, again, your presence here today. So many synchronicities in the cards today. This is the Druid Cross tarot here. I'm sorry, Wildwood tarot. So it's listed on my website if you like it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for waiting as I got everything set up here. Our first card that came through was the Catalyst. The Catalyst connects everything. And what a nice synchronicity we got here where I was saying sleep, rest, meditate. We've got hypnos and sleep coming through. So I've said this a few times this month, but it bears repetition here. To me, sleep is very magical. It's a great way to connect with your intuition. A lot of what I receive for you comes through sleep or the early hours of the morning. There's a reason that I do these readings so early. It's so that I can receive the highest possible guidance. I'm much more connected to spirit at this time of the day. So this is a great card that kind of reinforces your ability to connect with that high energy. So if you're feeling either, the other thing that could come through with this for some of you is, are you kind of in a daze? Are you at a point where you're finding it difficult to sort of focus? If that's the case, you might also be needing to look at diet. You might also be looking at, do I feel like I'm sleepwalking through my day, through my work, through my life? If you are, then this is the card that's coming through and saying, now is the time to start to get excited about things again and ask yourself, how can I start to do something that really makes my heart sing and makes me want to be here more? So this is a card of both getting enough sleep and making sure that you're awake when you need to be awake, that you're not sleepwalking through your life. I laughed a little bit when I got the Queen of Wands right at the center, because that's what we were talking about. So we see her here as a hare, a rabbit showing abundance, which is kind of what I was hinting at. She is magical. She can make things come through even when you don't think that they'll be there. So she's very resourceful. And this is the key energy to success and abundance this month, the Queen of Wands. So let's talk a little bit about what she can do well. She's good at managing things. And I use these pronouns, but the cards are without gender. So I'm going to use it. The Queen of Wands energy is good because it allows you to really connect with the ability to see all the moving parts and decide how you want to be involved in it. It's not about getting into the weeds of things, though. So it's important when you're seeing a card like this to think, I need to keep a bird's eye view, a bird's eye perspective. And also I want to take some ownership over the decisions and the direction. This card really is also good because it allows you to really interface well with others. So you're very much well set up for leadership this month. And I hope you can embrace that, even if you feel a little discomfort about it. Again, this card tells me you can handle it. So I'm excited, and you'll make it work. Even if you're at a place where you don't have enough time, enough energy, enough money, you'll figure out a way to make it work. We see a partnership card right on top of it. So we have the Page of Wands. So a queen and a page. So you might have an intern coming through. Literally, pages are sometimes interns. You could also be working with a mentee. You might be working with a mentor instead if you're the younger person. So what we're seeing here is a sort of cooperative energy. Don't be afraid to lean on someone or ask for help or get that insight. Partnership is actually right at the center here. If you're looking for love, there could be a new partnership opportunity since it was smack dab in the center. What I am seeing here, though, is potential in these existing relationships to think, how can I bring more balance in this relationship? How can it feel a little bit more even? Because I often like to see two of the same, not just two of the same suit, but actually the same court cards. So 2 queens, 2 kings, 2 pages, 2 knights, because to me, that's showing people that are on the same page. The one good thing about this, though, is if you are learning from somebody, it's good that your leader is strong. So if you are the younger one or the less experienced one here, you've got a great leader here. Get as much insight, glean as much as you can from that, because it's going to help you out quite a bit. All right, let's look in the deep past. For many of you, this is going to be valid right now if you're watching it in September versus October. So we have the 8 of Pentacles, and there's attention to detail always is a part of this card. I actually see a stillness here too, that it's important to take your time a little bit, not rush to completion, and that's going to benefit you quite a bit. The other thing that I always like to pay attention to on this one is sometimes I see it as a helping hand. This time I'm seeing it as how you're going to make an impression, or how you're going to make an impact, or kind of like put your thumbprint on the world. What is it you're trying to do? And this will help you make the decisions. We were talking about metrics, which is basically measuring a goal against a current decision to see if that current decision is moving you towards or away from that goal. So that's your question as you kind of go through day to day. How is this helping achieve things in my life? And you may have more, obviously, than more than one goal, but things need to be weighed against that to make a choice. And the bigger choice up there, and that's the hand of spirit just as much as it's your own, is what am I trying to do in this lifetime? What am I trying to do in this experience? How am I trying to touch people in my lives to make a difference? Am I succeeding? Am I happy at that, etc.? So that's what this card is recommending. Okay, this could go, for some of you, you might be going back to school. You might also just be deciding that you want to learn a little bit more and really try to dig deeper into understanding how your mind works, how something like this is a very mechanical card for me. So it's getting into the underpinnings and understanding something more. It's a good time to do that. So whatever you've been hoping to master, you have a good chance at getting a little bit further throughout the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks. So embrace it. Okay. We have the World Tree, aka the world here. What I love about this is it's showing how Success doesn't happen overnight. This tree is strong. It's weathered many storms because it's put down the roots. It's spent the time in growing and in building, and every ring inside the tree, just like this little maze in front, has been an experience. And just like the maze, we don't always understand what one layer of our life, one revolution around the sun is doing. But when you start to look at the ultimate structure of one's life at the end, it makes a lot of sense. So where are you in that onion skin? Where are you in this? If we were to take like a core of the tree and look at all the rings, where are you at? How does this ring of your life look? 2020 has been pretty weird. It would be an interesting ring to look at. So I think this is a very chaotic year where we're all being pushed a little bit, and it's kind of like bumper cars or pinball, to go back to like old, pre-2000 things that some kids would play with. But it's sort of like we're supposed to try something different and maybe come up with trial and error, a new way to do it. Now, ultimately, this is a great card for finishing and starting. It's a bookend, right? Because then we're going to go to the Fool after this. So what are you ready to release? If you're ready to release it, by the way, it's a big splash. You should be doing it now. This is in recent past, so it's going to spill over into October and ostensibly into the last few months of the year. If you need to do something, stop delaying. This is the time. It's a messy year. Things are not what you thought they would be, but if you want to go back to school, if you want to release a project, if you want to ask someone out on a date, if you want to change something about your life, what are you waiting for? This is the time. If not now, then when? And remember what I said, we live many lives. This one once, make it count. Decisions are required this month. The cards are supporting a lot of that as I'm looking at it. So this deck is a little odd. I actually wrote down a few of the translations. So the Hanged Man is actually the mirror on this one. What's cool about this being a mirror card instead of just a person hanging upside down is it's about sometimes the pauses and the sort of stagnation in our life. They come through to teach us. To me, I look at a mirror and I see something, but it's not exactly the way it is. You're seeing a kind of a reflection, but it's sort of also, it can be like, if you think of a fun room mirror, sometimes it's based on the lens. So what I want you to look at this month is, what's the lens through which you look like this? What are you looking through the world at? Like how, is there a prejudice? Is there optimism? Is there some sort of obscuring layer? If so, what if you just pulled some of these things back and tried to get the cosmic view of the situation? As I was saying, the bird's eye view. If we could go above this and look at everything, that's going to help you. Some of you maybe are too drawn into what you're seeing right here, but you're missing everything else. So gain perspective. Don't be upset about any delays that could be coming. This is a chance for you to move on. And we actually see, I never noticed this before. You see like a boat here, which a funeral boat, basically, after someone passes. So what we're looking at right now is making peace with the passage of something in our life that we're letting go of. That's one of those doors that's opening and closing. And interesting. It's good that I'm wearing my glasses. I'm seeing more in the cards. So with that, I would say, is there something that you're still clinging on to that it's hard for you to think? Maybe because it's so near and dear to you. You could be trying to perfect something, and the message here from Spirit is, it's good, let it go. You could be trying to be a perfectionist with yourself. The message is, I'm glad that you have this sort of work ethic, but you're also overdoing it. So moderation, release, and getting a bigger perspective on things, okay? I look at, it's interesting that we have Hawk here for the Knight of Swords, because I look at that and it's also about perspective. So with this one, the perspective is about looking at it from a different angle because the bird's upside down. So I want you to try to look at it and also discuss it from a different angle, or listen to a different perspective, because to me, swords indicate communication, language, transference of information. So if you can't, this is also good for those of you that are trying to learn something, but you've hit a block. You might need to find a different teacher or a different school or a different method. So this is definitely about different ways of looking at things, different ways of communicating. Of course, it can always be about getting straight to the point. because anytime I see any of the court cards within swords reversed, it's about directness. In an intensity level, I like where knight is. It's almost squarely in the middle. Page is a little too subtle. A knight is just about direct enough. When you get to queen or king, it can kind of sometimes be overwhelming. So I think that you'll be able to walk that fine line of saying what you need to say, holding back when you need to kind of figure out if it's the right person, the right time, and it's going to be received well. But overall, I really think this is about listening and making sure you've heard everything, listening to different perspectives, trying different teachers if you need to, and trying to state things in a different way. It's about changing up communication and listening and trying to kind of learn things from a different perspective. Changing perspectives here this month for you. I also laughed a little when I saw the wheel in reverse because I was talking about that. So with the Wheel of Fortune, this really, I also like that we kind of have this, what is it, a loom of some sort? You're creating something. So when you know what you're creating, everything starts to work in that same, it kind of starts to support you. You're lining up all the ducks in a row, basically. So the wheel in reverse, what's counterproductive right now in your life? This is really what it is at face value. Is there something that you're doing that is like a hamster wheel? You're just spinning and spinning and spinning, but going nowhere? Is there something that you're doing that could actually be pulling you backwards from where you want to be? Whatever's going on, make sure that it's moving you in the right direction, that there is reciprocal qualities towards it, and also that you're getting proper payment or an exchange of energy for what you're doing. Money is energy. So if you work really, really hard and your boss or coworkers or family or roommate or whoever it is doesn't value the work that you're doing, then that is creating a spiritual debt between you and between that person, and karma that you don't want or need. It's actually in your favor to try to balance it out and find a place where you're appreciated and you're receiving enough abundance to go about your life. It's not about being rich. It's about being compensated so that you're getting a return on the energy. So make sure that you have as much abundance as you need so that you can do what you want and so that you can live a good life and kind of accomplish everything in the soul. That's it. 4 seasons usually with the wheel and with the world. So we have 2 of those cards. So you're really kind of having a couple of years here that you're setting up for yourself if you're really doing everything right. Abundance potentially here for a couple of years if you resolve and let go of this, because we have something big that needs to both happen and be released, because we have that boat which is showing passage just like the 6 of Swords, and we actually see a spirit in that boat, and then we see something new. And that was what I felt when I was having the dream. It was this sense of fear and regret, or fear and uncertainty. Someone was offering, like symbolically offering something, and I just was kind of inferring from this offering that there was great potential, but also as I looked over my shoulder, a great fear, like, am I ready to go? So only you can answer that question. Are you ready? If not, what's holding you back? What's the element of fear that is saying, not now, not yet? Okay. On the bright side, you have the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is good, so is the world. You need to just kind of pull those things that we were talking about in the right direction, and I think you'll be okay. So we have the King of Swords now in the environment in reverse. So these 2 cards don't communicate very well because they're both very direct and they're not very good at listening when they're upside down. So here I have 2 people just kind of flying around and chirping a lot, especially since we have the birds. So are there some communication loops going on right now between you and a coworker, family member, a boss, whomever? Someone has a little bit of seniority here and may not be listening as much. So you're going to have to try a different way. And that's what I was picking up on with that. If you're in a relationship, since we have, so interesting, we have 2 couples here, we have 2 dyads, 2 sort of groups. You could be kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to make peace between these 2 groups. It could be a family sort of situation. It's hard when that happens. So, don't try to play the mediator all the time. That might not work. It might be better just to kind of refocus your efforts somewhere else, because it feels like these 2 energies, the wands are very stubborn, and the hawks the swords here are very kind of communicative. So we have chattering here and sort of like with the other group. So in families, friends, and work dynamics, this is just sort of a hot mess. And so I think it would be better for you to just sort of gain some perspective, gain some distance from it, and think, I don't really need to focus on this right now, okay? So pick your battles wisely and elevate your words, because we have 2 sets of swords cards in reverse, and you're going to be fine. I like that we have both Judgment and the World. They're, you know, right next to each other. We have also the Gateway that I was seeing here, and there's a choice here. We have this Guardian right over top of the Judgment card. So this is the protective element. I like this deck because I think this one's a Papa Bear. We have a Mama Bear for another card. I forget which one it is. So the Papa Bear here is guarding the entry, saying, you know, are you sure you're ready? The universe does this all the time with Judgment. This is the only deck that kind of captures that. You will be sometimes given a roadblock, not to punish you, not because you're not good at manifesting. It's actually like the universe saying one more time, are you sure? You have one more chance to say no. You can step back if you want to. And it's not because you're on the wrong path. You always have choices, and there's these little tests. Also, if you're a light worker, a lot of times you'll have some sort of a shadow energy that comes through to try to block the way, because it's scared that you're going to succeed and elevate the energy. It's actually a sign that you're on the right track. So if you get a block this month, you're fine. If you get someone that tries to scare you, you're probably doing the right thing. If you're a musician, a writer, or some sort of, trying to change policy out there, and it's very polarizing, that means you've hit a nerve. You're doing something that's effective. It's not always about 5-star reviews. You can get some 1 stars and it's like, well, I'm making people think. So realize that success isn't always just, I would say the mainstream stuff is kind of boring. So if you're actually on the edge doing something, you might be between all of these sort of higher frequency energies, or like more, I should say, polarized ones. Really, really loving, really, really hating. So keep your head on straight if that's what's going on. Finally, because that's in hopes, fears, and desired action, what do you want? That's the question that the universe is sort of saying. Are you, what do you want? How are you going to do it? Are you ready? Let's go. And if you are, Judgment is opening up the path, but you have this Guardian there, which is asking you all the questions that I just did. Notice behind it is the Aurora Borealis, is change. It's exciting. You have to walk through that door. That's death and rebirth right there. I mentioned, this is, by the way, this is Wildwood, but in the Druidcraft deck, I believe that that's actually the name of Death card. Like, it has rebirth on it too. So these 2 decks have a similar energy to them. I like it. It's very nature-based. I actually was going between this, and I was thinking I could have used Thoth because I had so much Egyptian mythology coming through. I wanted something very either nature or Egyptian-based because there was so much of that energy coming through for your sign today. All right. So the final card here also makes me laugh because it's showing a need to rest, but also an understanding that there's going to be points during this journey that you're going to have to vacillate between burning the candle a little bit and then making sure that you take care of yourself. So we have the 4 of Swords in an upright position. Normally you would see this as rest, as taking care of yourself. In a reversed state, it's showing exhaustion or a need to push yourself to make something happen and to do it not to the point of exhaustion. You're going to have to kind of like find that happy medium. But what is the result of being able to manage this, of being able to figure out when to sprint and when to sort of relax or hand the baton off? Well, transformation, change, freedom. And through the sleep also comes the connection to spirit here with the butterfly, which is great. Got some cool stuff coming through. This is one of the more magical readings that I had this month. A lot of synchronicities in the channeled messages and the choices of the cards, and some really clear direction on how to handle it. Not to get in your way with words, not to get in the middle of 2 different groups. That's going to just hold you back. That's the counterproductive energy. So if you find yourself between that, don't go there. If you're looking for love, I see a lot of options. Be discerning. If you're in a relationship, I think the important thing is to keep an open mind and open communication as well, because you could look at those 2 dyad groups of cards and just say, well, there's some energetic shifts that need to happen there, because in both of them, there was also really big differences between the 2 cards, especially between the king and the king and the knight and the queen. It's pretty close. But yeah, there's some, there is a little bit of discrepancy or a little bit of immaturity for some of these. So just make sure that you're good to go there. All right, let me take a quick drink here, and then we're going to expand the forecast and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. As we look at each one of these, A reminder that they are really multifaceted. So health is going to be looking at mind, body, and spirit. When I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. Okay, so the main thing that I'm focusing on here is alignment. And we talked a little bit about that spark of passion, of insight, of intuition. They all come through as kind of like this rush. You almost take a deep breath when you feel them, right? Like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. And so that's why sometimes we gasp when something exciting happens. We have to kind of take it all in. We need a little bit more energy. So give yourself some time this month to digest things and try to find this spark of love. Where is it in your life right now? If you're not feeling it, it's interesting because we have stagnation with this card, the Hanged Man. We have maybe bored but busy, which can also be what comes through with Four of Swords, because you're needing rest, but you can't, and you're busy and you're tired and you're not fully engaged. If that's going on, this is saying there is much more. There's just a decision that has to be made for you. It's already done. We have them reversed, actually. This is showing completion. This is showing decision. So the universe has already showed you something is done in your life. Why haven't you decided to accept that? It could be different for many, many reasons. For some of us, we might need some more resources. For some of us, we're grieving. Grieving is a part of the process, and that's fine. But don't get distracted and don't miss the gate that will not be open always. It's a connecting flight, and it's not going to always be there. Some specific messages respective to health, looking just at the cards here. Great time for change. I haven't mentioned it yet in this sign because I don't focus on it because I'm not afraid of it, but we have a retrograde in the middle of the month. Retrogrades are a chance to fix things and to release things. So you can make and break a new cycle here with this. And that's what we're seeing with the world and with the wheel and with the Judgment card. Those are really big changing energies. We even have transformative energy with the Four of Swords. So you have a lot of change potential this month. What do you want to shift up? The Four of Swords, you're not getting enough rest at certain points, or you're not feeling rested, or you're going to be asked to push yourself. So manage that wisely, ask for help. If you're having serious problems with sleep, go see a doctor. This is important. The Judgment card has to, and it's interesting, both Judgment and Hanged Man. Some of you are waiting for things. There could be someone in your life that you're waiting for them to leave. Maybe figuratively, maybe real, maybe like there's even a life-death situation going on. So I feel like some of you are just waiting for that moment because then freedom comes after that. So it seems to me like everything is proceeding as you think it will. But I think what's important here is to remember you're always the one that should be starting to be a little bit more proactive in calling the shots. We can't forget at the heart of the spread, we have the Queen of Wands. So ask the questions you need to ask. Make the decisions you need to, lead by example, and forget about all this nonsense that was going around with the other court cards. She got lost in the shuffle here. So Queen of Wands is our focus. That was the main thing that I focused on when I was looking at all the channel messages. So bring that back through and manage things wisely. So that's it. It's really more about, I believe it's about mental sort of management of stress, physical management of sleep too, I would say, making sure you're getting enough. And those are the main things that I'm seeing here. Okay. Wealth. We have Master Jesus here, forgiveness. You are on the path of light, love, and forgiveness. Father healing is possible at this time. So we did get the King of Swords here. There could be a really difficult, like I said, maybe even argumentative mentor in your life. This is saying choose a path of peace, listen, forgive that person if you can. With respect to career, this could be a boss that just, again, doesn't listen, because we have a very talky card there and a very sort of management card. So when someone talks and they're just stuck in one way of thinking, and the Judgment card in and of itself can also be overly decisive. This is also maybe encouraging you to move on past these things, since we're seeing cards of transformation and release in the top two cards. It might be time. It might be the right time to move on. And also just to be kind to yourself. When we look at everything that we did, this is part of the gratitude as a requisite, or if you will, a prerequisite, because we have a school card here in the past, to graduate to the next level, which we have a couple of graduation cards here. You need to go through certain things to understand who you are, what you want, and that you actually can do whatever you put your mind to. So forgive the past, see them as conduits to the present, all the situations. And as you start to focus on what you can do, remember, this particular ascended master is a miracle worker, right? So big changes can happen if you put your mind to it. This is just as magical as the high priestess to me. So own your power, basically, and quite practically be in charge. Okay. So whether you're going to go spiritually or practically, we're seeing power and your ownership and your creative energy with that, you can do it. Okay. I like that we have Eight of Pentacles in the past, which it also is. I said we only had the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Eight of Pentacles too. So your money cards are actually pretty good. It's just remembering to not give up on something that you started, because this was in the past and this is an investment. So remember maybe a piece of yourself too that you haven't utilized. Sometimes we have a degree and we end up on another path and it's like, actually, I can do this, but I just haven't done it in a while. Or we've learned through the school of hard knocks how to do something, and that practical experience is just as valuable, and we just have to find a way to put it into action. So somehow you're being called to use your store of knowledge and life experiences, whether it is in a school or in the school of the world, and you're supposed to share that and use it and move to the next level. As I said before, communication is the big thing to look at in all relationships, including business. As we look at love here, we have medicine woman here. So there's healing possible. It says you are a channel for divine healing power. We already saw that, especially with family members, whether it's a mom or a dad, you have a chance to connect and heal and make it better. But what I like about this is it's also not necessarily a partnership card. You are a channel. What do you want to do with your passion? You could put it in a relationship. You could put it in yourself. You could decide to focus on something in the world that you want to do. Passion is a force, and it doesn't have to always express itself in the same way. So whether you're in a relationship looking for love or looking to use that energy to channel it, I see that you can elevate all three of those things. There are, like I said, there are choices here. The only thing that I'd like to warn you, if you are looking for new love, I see people at two different stages of change here. The Judgment card can be a finalization of like a divorce or something like that. The Hangman could be waiting for someone. Make sure the timing is right. Never accept a compromise to something that you're trying to accomplish in that particular arena. That Great Hall of Doorways is basically showing me there are more choices. So if this choice isn't good enough, let it go. Wait for something better, because it feels a little messy to me for new relationships. Plus, with the retrograde period, take your time anyway. Again, that's mid-month. So first couple weeks are better for new things, and the last couple weeks are good for letting go, forgiving, and for goal planning. Okay, looking now at your Destiny card, which is malleable. All the choices that we were talking about will affect this, but this is where you're headed. Well, look at that. We've got abundance. I like it. It's love and abundance in all forms. That's my sort of mantra. It doesn't have to be just a relationship. It doesn't have to just be money. It could be new connections. It could be a new sort of experience that you call into your life. Abundance takes so many different forms, but expect that now it's time. You've paid your dues, and that could be your sort of your message to the universe. I've learned what I needed to. I'm grateful for the experiences. I'm ready for new, better, and more of that. More of the higher energy, less of the lower stuff. Okay, I really like your reading this month. I think there's some really cool messages and some elevated energy that's coming through. Let's quickly review, and then we'll get into the soul path and see how you can maximize everything that we've talked about. So if you just joined, this is a perfect point, because I'm going to talk about what you've already missed, and otherwise we're going to get some additional insights on everything. Okay. So October is like that great hall of doorways. There are portals in every direction. You have to figure out which gateway is for you. As you stand before all these options, take your time, be discerning, truly weigh off each opportunity against the trade-off and think, does it make sense? Does it feel right? How does my heart feel when I look at this? Kind of going back to the Egyptian ceremony where the heart is weighed against a feather, I want to just kind of focus on the feather light or the sort of this feeling like my heart feels good about it. I don't feel like there's something sitting on it. It even feels like I might even have butterflies in my stomach because of this excitement. That's what you want to go for. If you're not feeling that level of sort of giddiness and anticipation, it may not be worth it. If it's needed or necessary, go back and renegotiate. Be the Queen of Wands. You can do this. Ask for what you deserve. And that's why we have the abundance card here in Destiny. It's your divine right. We live many lifetimes, but this is the one we're currently living. Make it count. If you feel a spark of passion and intuition, use it, honor it, change course using that energy. It doesn't have to always go into a relationship. It can also affect your overall trajectory. The many doors that we are now opening, or that we are seeing opening now, won't always be. So you have to start to take some action before they close. It's kind of like it's almost like they fade in and they fade out. So this wasn't like a full structure. This is a hall where the dimensions open and close, kind of like the Matrix. The doors aren't always going to be there. Reject this idea of regret. Use it instead as a tool to decide what you need to do so you don't have it. And then basically don't accept no for an answer when you've decided what it is you want to do. Once you start to do this, you become powerful because you know who you are, you know what you want to do, and you start to see how to do it. So don't delay. You are being asked to juggle a lot of things right now. You can't do everything. You're going to have to make some choices. Success is attainable, provided that you divide and conquer responsibilities. Embodying that energy of the Queen of Wands, which we saw squarely at the center, is going to help you do that. And you're going to make it work. You have the magical energy. We even saw that here with this Ascended Master card, Jesus, the miracle worker. So you can make it happen. Express gratitude in all that you do for all experiences, even the ones that brought you pain in the past. Good things will come from that. Make sure that you rest, meditate, and sleep. Messages come there. They certainly do for me. Take time to get your bearings. If you don't know where you're at, it doesn't matter if you know where you're going, because you still don't know how to get there because you don't have your wayfinding sort of in place. A race is only effective if you know exactly where you're going, and also like when to decide to kind of sprint, basically. Visualize that end point, and everything that you do needs to be sort of measured against that metric, and trust in your ability to make this happen. And then great things will happen. All right, quickly looking through everything here. You are the manager, you are the decision maker. Embrace that. Queen of Wands is also able to inspire others to do work through leadership. And it's not always about talking, it's about showing. So there's a great teaching and a great learning ability that's coming through. Teacher, learner, and then also here with Eight of Stones, this is about mastering something here, getting to the Three of Pentacles level where you actually become the master, but you're an apprentice here. So finish what you started. You've got some great connections coming through. If you need to go to a different person for a different perspective, even if that's a health thing and you want to get a different opinion, that's fine. You might benefit from that. You already know it's time to let go of something. You just have to decide to let it go. Things kind of presented themselves in reverse. The decision will allow you to release and allow you to let go of whatever mourning exists. Let go of this sort of projection or this past that you're holding on to. She's holding on to the moon here. So that's holding on to illusion, sometimes holding on to fear. Yet she also knows, because the moon is highly intuitive, what is necessary. So there's an inner knowing and inner knowledge here. Just lean into that. We talked about all of these people, which are almost all touching each other here, the energies. So it could be difficult to manage in this if you're in a family where there's a lot of big personalities, or workplace where there's a lot of big personalities, or you just feel like you can't fit into some sort of an environment. That's okay. You're supposed to be focusing on bigger and better things, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So just make some clear decisions around this, and then don't overdo it when you do push yourself this month. It's important to manage all of that. Focus on, I also am looking at alignment here, and this is in health. If there's anything going on in your body where you feel like it's just off a little bit, please look at that as well. We want to take a look at any of you that might have balance, vertigo issues, problems with the spine. Take care of that as well. Some of that could actually be as a result of not being sort of interested in what's going on. Your body's off a little bit because you're holding on to the tension. Whatever it is, please take care of you. That's so important. And make a decision to change if you want to this month, because you have all the key change cards here. It's just up to you to do it. With work, miracles are possible, but you have to forgive someone in the past. You might have to forgive yourself for making a decision that didn't make sense, but ultimately helped you become who you're becoming or who you are right now. So it's a good thing. Jesus is just coming through to say, hey, you're part of the divine. You're part of that energy, and you can do great things, greater things than you might give yourself credit for. In fact, it's time for you to get that abundance. We even see that here with all three of these cards. Start to own up to what you're worth. Relationships, healing. There's a lot of healing and forgiveness coming through. And it might be, for some of you, somebody hurt you in a personal way at work too. Or, there's somebody who, it could be attached to money, like a family member that owed you money and just didn't come through. There's some sort of a monetary or an owing kind of energy that's connected with the two of these. Ask the universe to bring the abundance back in a different way. Forgive this person for their weakness. Move forward and create. You are the creator. This is a highly sort of manifesting card here. So go for it. You can do this. I think this was the planet. I've mentioned this before in A Wrinkle in Time where Aunt Beast was on. It's interesting that it's a healing planet because the beasts on that planet healed Meg when she was sick in A Wrinkle in Time. So this is definitely a healing energy, which is kind of cool. It reminds me of a book that I liked as a kid. All right, coins and abundance. So on this, I want you to really focus on seeing the possibilities and trusting it. It was that last channeled message that I brought through. Trust in your ability to bring things through to fruition. And also that things are fruitful, which they will be as long as you continue to ground yourself in what you're trying to do. Okay, let's go ahead now and get a little deeper and take a look at the soul path ahead. By the way, forgot about sleep here. Hypnosis is basically saying there's power and magic within sleep, but also don't sleepwalk through your life, okay? Because there might also be someone in your life that's trying to kind of put a spell on you and just keep you still, because we have the Hanged Man at the top. So this is your chance to wake up and think, wait, why am I doing this again? So hypnosis is a trickster a little bit. There's magic with this, but there's also don't sleepwalk. All right, let's take a look at the cards. Eight of Stones. What have you started and what do you need to finish? Okay. I feel like you really are close to completion on something here. We have the 10 of Wands here, and it's your responsibility, perhaps, to move it forward. There could be someone in your life that's not taking responsibility or accountability. That's okay. We're not going to beat them up anymore. This is actually presenting a leadership opportunity for you. And sometimes we are faced with the burden or the necessary path of having to do it ourselves because there's no other way to do it. I'm doing that with something that I'm working on right now, and it's okay. Because the cool thing about 10 of Wands is if you do every single facet of something, whether it's selling a house, painting something and distributing it to the world, or deciding to even like fix something. This is like a car. You went to the mechanic, they don't know how to do it. You're going to figure out how to do it yourself. Whatever it is that you're doing, soup to nuts, you have figured it out yourself. You take with this sort of experience the complete soul evolution that you learned everything there could possibly be to learn about this. So I think you're pretty close. It's now just a decision to move on and let go, because this was basically your apprenticeship or your work. This is showing me you've got it where it needs to be. Now it's just a matter of saying, okay, goodbye. I'm grateful for this. I want to move on. I can't carry this anymore. If you've been doing something in your life for somebody else, maybe as well, maybe you're a caretaker. You're also at a point right now where you need to ask for help. Maybe that person's at a point of transition, or you have to move on. It's okay. This is giving you encouragement and permission to move into the next part of your life, whatever that might be. That's the message there. I want to look at the Great Bear. Let's look at this doorway. What's the hesitation? What's the question from the universe? Six of Wands. I love it. So this is ultimately success and abundance. You're getting a lot of messages about abundance, by the way. This Six of Wands is one of the few where you're not seeing the people there yet. So usually with Six of Wands, you would see a crowd of people, someone coming in on a horse, lots of cheering, etc. there is a faith and a trust that one must have when you're walking a journey to basically just know that you're really doing it for yourself anyway, not in a selfish way, but in a soul evolution sort of way. Like if you're going to school, it's because you desire to really learn and understand and grow, not necessarily so that your family will appreciate you or that you're going to make a lot of money. Hopefully, it's for a soul evolution. Every path that you take should be ostensibly to try to bring you to that next level of deepness, of richness. When you do it that way, you're basically like the actor coming into the stage, maybe even before rehearsal, that's kind of meditating, or it could be rehearsal. People haven't showed up yet, but you trust, if you're an actor and you're rehearsing, that there'll eventually be a show. So it's the faith that what you're doing matters before you get the accolades, and not for the express purpose of the accolades, because you're spoiling the journey if it's just for the applause. So it reminds me of that Lady Gaga song. It's not always about the applause. Sometimes it's about the journey. This could be an empty theater and you would still have succeeded. And in coronavirus times, it kind of is for all of us creative folks. We create, we hope that it's received well. One of the cool things about YouTube Live is I actually do get to interact with you, but for about 5 years I didn't. I would just put videos out and hope for the best. So I was basically doing this, which was here's my offering to you. I hope you like it. So that's okay, and that was enough. That still is, like, it's okay. Sometimes I just do stuff and hope that you like it, and I don't need the kind of constant. That's why I'm not always interacting. I just like to be here with you, so it's nice. But for me, I'm trying to give you the best elevated message. For you, do the same in your life. Who cares about the applause? It doesn't matter. That would be my song. Forget about the applause. You're doing a great job. All right. Because we see abundance and because we see Six of Wands, lean into finishing what you need to, because you've already succeeded. Whatever happens, you've already succeeded. You learned what you needed to. But we do see abundance there. So if you're trying to improve money, or if you're trying to make something happen, this is a very positive thing that portends a good outcome, okay? I want to look at release. Why can't you release? Because we've got these two cards at the top showing the sort of spirit in the boat and the transformative element of the butterfly. So what are you trying to change into? What's the message about change? Death, transformation itself. The cards are laughing at me. The message is change. So it's always scary when we walk down the journey. I like this deck calls it the journey. It's not death. Sorry to see the bird of prey having a meal there, but this is time. It's time to release. So we have many cards here of success and release. So this is, you've carried the burden. You've gone through the battle. You've got all the scars. You've done this. Good for you. It's not been an easy ride. This is saying that whatever you needed to learn, you learned it. That is your success. You may also receive accolades and wealth and abundance and other good things, but that's the cherry on the top. That's not the cake itself. You already have the cake. Let's let go of that cake now and start to bake again. Sorry, I'm trying to continue with the metaphor, but yeah, that's what we see here with death. It's time for death and rebirth. It's time to go through another doorway, right? So when the show's finished, it's time for another show. So like, what's next? What are you going to go through next? So we do have death and rebirth, and that is always part of judgment. It's just illustrated a little bit differently here. Some decks you'll see a phoenix. This one we see a doorway. Sometimes you see people rising from the dead. We saw Jesus here in the wealth area, which is showing me a change. So I do believe some of you are at a career vector changing point where it's time to move on. You're either bored, or you just hit a lot of success, or you were laid off because we have death. This is a chance to reinvent and rise from the ashes, because with death, with judgment, with the world, you can do this. Okay, some exciting stuff. It's not a boring month for you at all. If you can lean into the change, if you can keep an eye on what you're trying to do, I think you're super powerful and you're able to do it, okay? Let's go ahead now and let's go into the meditation. And I'm gonna scan the cards here. I want to go through, I wanna open a doorway because I saw so many doors. So we're gonna go through this path. We're going to talk to the spirit, the sort of the great bear spirit here. And each of you are going to have a moment to see the bear as not scary. It's going to just be there, and we'll have it become something friendly. But you have to answer the question first. It's almost like a sphinx. This is what I'm seeing. And again, we're looking at a modern deck, but I'm very much in Egypt today, probably from a past lifetime. But this is the sphinx. It's going to ask you a few questions, and once you've got the answer, it's going to disappear, and you're going to go through this gateway. Okay, and then you're going to transform into something awesome. So before we get into the meditation, I just want to remind you, if you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that. It does help the channel. I know it's like, I hear that on every video. Why does it matter? It's the algorithm of YouTube. So ask YouTube, but it helps people discover me. I have a pretty low discovery rate, so that's why I say it. And I know that part of it is because this isn't your typical reading. We're doing like a lot of different stuff here. And I know some people just kind of focus on one area. So and this is not just 10 or 15 minutes. It's like a long time. I learned how to be a yoga teacher. I went through Kundalini yoga training, and this is about the length of a Kundalini yoga session. It's about an hour, 15 minutes or so. So that's kind of why, in order to actually make a difference, you have to go through things. So in yoga class, you're going to sit there, go through the poses, you're going to breathe, you're going to meditate, and then you're going to go in Shavasana. We're doing Shavasana right now. This is the most important part, and it's interesting because I'll see the numbers drop. This is going to help you kind of chill out, get all the energy today that we need to, and visualize the future. So I hope you can stick around, and I hope you enjoy this. Close your eyes, please. Relax. If there's any tension in your body, this is the time to just let it go. I want you to see yourself, if you need to open them for a second, you can, but in this forest, kind of like right at this gateway where the trees are opening up, where you can see a guardian in front of you and this portal that it stands before, that beautiful aurora borealis, which is causing all the lights to kind of shift a little bit. It's bluish, it's purplish, it's orangish. You see all the lights in the spectrum basically there. As you're closing your eyes and relaxing, I want you just to kind of start to look with your third eye. See beyond the guardian, look past the darkness of the cave, go into the aurora borealis for a second and see what lies beyond. What is it that your soul is asking you to return to? We are going into a retrograde period, which is a month of returns, a chance to revisit, second chances, forgiveness, wrapping things up. It's a wonderful energy that's often misunderstood. Celebrate the energy of retrograde this month and make a decision now to return to your soul's path. That's truly what lies in front of you. So as you listen to the singing bowl, I want you to see the colors of the aurora come through the cave so it's not so scary. And I want you to look at the guardian and think about what the answer is. It's already asking you the question. The question's in your mind, and the answer will come to you as I'm playing the singing bowl. For some of you, it's like, what are you looking for? It could be a relationship. It could be a job. It could be forgiving yourself. It could be getting healthier. It could be something bigger. I want you to kind of figure out what it is the spirit is asking you. What do you want to do? Why should I let you through? So think about the answer, and you'll get the answer while I'm playing. And if you are still vacillating, I'll help you a little bit afterwards, but you should be able to get it while I'm playing this. So take a deep breath, let the answer come through, let the lights show you the answer. And at the very end, if you need to, just take a leap of faith with me and we'll go in and get you on that path, okay? Close your eyes, relax. Take a moment to look at how you have changed as you've started to tune into your soul's energy. If you were to look at yourself now, you would stand just as tall as the bear. You are stronger, more magical, more ancient than you give yourself credit for. And the bear looks at you and sees that you have grown in knowledge. You have spiritually grown as well. And it's ready for your answer. Even if the answer is, I'm still looking, the bear may kind of move its head side to side and still allow you to pass because of the soul work that you've done. But it's extremely happy for those of you that know exactly where you're going. And there's a beam of light that opens up, shining on your heart. Feel for a moment the lightness in your heart, the lightness that we talked about at the beginning, at the weighing of the heart, the weighing of the soul. Does your heart feel light? If there's still some heaviness, realize that it's okay. Don't despair. This is a retrograde period. This is a chance for you to go into the heart space to create change. For some of you, I can feel the sadness a little bit because I'm picking up on that. That's okay. Sadness is a way to let go, to release. For some of you, it's joy. For some of you, it's excitement. Whatever it is, allow the light now to start to pull you in, almost like this tractor beam. See the guardian above, this beautiful bear, kind of fade into the aurora borealis itself above you. And now the cave starts to melt as well. And all you see is the light. And on the horizon is the beautiful glimmering image of the truth, the soul path. The answer to the question is sitting there. It's standing there. It's shining. It's happening. It's there. You're going to have to continue to work to bring it into full fruition. But it's giving you basically a nod and an encouragement to not let it go. Dreams come through as a reminder of what's possible. So feed this dream, feed this future. Take a deep breath and pull all the energy of this aurora borealis around your body. See yourself perhaps even emerging as the butterfly that we saw in that final card, coming through with all your colors, all your possibility of being able to rise above this lifetime. Even within it, we can transform. We don't have to die to have a life review or to make a change. So choose to make the change now and to make tomorrow amazing, today as well. Last breath, inhale. Let it go. Relax. Welcome back. It's good to see you. I hope you enjoyed today's journey, not just through October, but a little bit through the soul here. What's possible? Magical as always, right, guys? All right, let's take a moment here just to do a little bit of housekeeping and wrap up. I want to thank everybody. Again, today's was especially magical. I had a feeling it would be because, again, I don't know how many of you had lifetimes in Egypt, but that's definitely what came through. It was like ancient Egypt today. So a lot of kind of alchemic and mythological energy. So I hope it helped you out. For anybody that was kind enough to show support, thank you so much. Once this is on replay, usually in a few hours, it takes me a while to do all of the post-production stuff, but I will say thank you in a pinned comment. In the meantime, I'm just saying thank you now. You can still do a super chat while I'm talking, so feel free to. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, it's free. Do it, please. Click on the bell if you'd like an email indication of what's going on. You can also sign up for my newsletter. Feel free to check out my website. All of the stuff that I'm about to talk about is there. So my website address is nicholasashbaugh.com. I know I don't have the easiest last name to spell, so if you have trouble spelling it, just click on my my main YouTube profile page and go to the About tab, and all of these links are there. You can find me on most social media platforms at my name exactly. It's important to look at this. There was someone on Facebook last weekend that was trying to pretend to be me. I like to just say I'm never going to message you directly on any of these platforms, and I'll never ask you for money in that. So that should be a warning sign. If you want to contribute, I'm telling you how you can do it now, and it's on video. I don't do it in chat. So just want to start saying that so people don't fall for it. All right. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, I will use the stories to remind you when things are coming through. It's actually clickable on these two platforms. On all three of them, I also post the pictures of the cards. I take a picture before the reading begins. So give me some time. Again, sometime this afternoon, I'll post that. Patreon is a great way to give back. If you would like to do it on a monthly basis, as little as $1 a month, you can also join me here on YouTube. A lot of you with the green text have already done that, so thank you. I'm still figuring out what I want to do on TikTok, but I'm there if you want to join me. PayPal is paypal.me/my name. Again, to be safe, just go to my website to make sure that you have the right address. My Twitter handle is the only one that's different. It's Ashbaugh. And that is everything. Such a great reading today. I appreciate all of you being here, showing up, doing the work, being a really kind audience means a lot. Thank you to my moderators also for helping me be able to do what I'm doing. So thanks, Ryan and Maria, for making that possible. Have a great month ahead, everyone. Remember, October to me is magical. It's not surprising me that we have a lot of cards about death and passage, like sort of gateways or passages, basically. So we basically saw that. To me, the mirror actually reminded me a lot of the Six of Swords, but without being present in the boat. So it's sort of like inviting you to take that journey. So this is your chance. If you're ready, you can listen to that Great Bear meditation that we were doing, the Guardian at the sort of Aurora Borealis, anytime you need it. That'll help you in your transformation. I'll see you guys again later this week. You can check out, I'll be again live on Thursday and Friday and Sunday and Monday. So until then, much love and light, and have a great week ahead, okay? Bye-bye.